on a much, much happier note, we have Larisa Kellett online. Good morning, Larisa.
Good morning, Tina. How are you?
Very good. Sorry we took a wee bit to get to you this morning. We struggled with a bit of the technology getting you over from the WhatsApp app.
That's all good. That's all good. I've just been sitting here eating $17,000 muffins. Just kidding.
Yeah, very dear muffins, eh? Isn't that terrible? Isn't it just terrible?
Yeah, I'm astonished.
Yeah, you'd have to be astonished. Even lefties would be astonished on that one, I think. Hey, Larisa, tell us just a bit about where you are right at the moment.
Right at the moment, I'm in Panama City, in a part of it called Casco Viejo, which is a very old, incredibly interesting part of Panama. Old buildings, amazing architecture. It's very cool.
Now you've been overseas for a few months now. So where did you head first, and what have been your experiences?
Well, I headed from I'm from Hawke's Bay, and I headed out and went to LA first, and did a bit of music. I'm a singer, so I sung at a few places and really enjoyed being around there. And then headed off to New Orleans and stayed in the French Quarter and played in Frenchman Street. So some people think of New Orleans and they think of Bourbon Street, but these days, if you want to hear music, you really head over to Frenchman Street. And I just had an amazing time. I ended up singing at the House of Blues in New Orleans.
Wow.
A little club called the Spotted Cat Club, which is famous and tiny. And there's an 86-year-old gentleman called James Rivers, who's a legend there. He plays trumpet, even bagpipes, sings beautifully. He used to work with people like Sam Cooke, and he's just won the contribution to music in New Orleans. And I got to sing with him at the Playhouse, at the Jazz Playhouse. So that was an honor. I was invited to sing with him on one of my last days.
Oh,
so,
fantastic.
Yeah, thanks. I was pretty chuffed about that.
And so how did you end up? Did you go back to Costa Rica after that?
Yeah, I did. After that, zipped over to Costa Rica and...
yeah, actually, that's a very good point. There must be a bit of a distance between them.
Yeah, there is. Went via Texas and then through to Costa Rica and did a concert with a Latin jazz band at a place called the Jazz Cafe, and also a show. And Costa Rica was pretty amazing. It's got a lot of wonderful wildlife, and I saw it's called a jaguarundi. It's a wild cat. Mm-hmm. It's bigger than a domestic cat, but not as big as a panther. Like halfway between in size. Yeah. And that was, of course, monkeys and scarlet macaws and all those kind of things, but it was quite an exotic sighting to see a jaguarundi. And then left Costa Rica.
And of course you lived in Costa Rica for a number of years, didn't you?
Si, señorita. I lived there for, a long time, over 10 years.
And you were involved with the conservation movement there too, weren't you?
Yes, it's race conservation. It's run by Kiwi Pete Bethune, and they are now pretty much based over in Central America. I have been at the moment, and that's why I'm in Panama, because on Sunday I'm going to, drop the sparkles and the glitzy gowns and get into conservation mode and boat attire and get on the Modoc, which is a 45-metre blue water vessel. It's a former U.S. Navy and U.S. Coast Guard cutter. Pretty cool. And we're going to sail for about 5 days back to Costa Rica.
So you won't be chasing pirates this time?
Well, I hope not, and I hope they don't chase us. I mean, you never know once you're out there.
So what sort of stuff are they trying to... the poachers, what are they poaching?
The poachers will poach anything if the sun shines on its back, but of course there are the specific poachers who will go into marine protected areas and just rape and pillage. And what happens over in these parts of the world is that the local government authorities just don't have the resources to be able to go out there and protect them. So it's often not the locals doing it, it's, other countries coming in and dragging and doing all that kind of thing. So now Earthrace works with the local government and they provide like the Modoc, but the Modoc can be used to transport rangers, to deliver goods, quite practical stuff.
So it's like a stabby craft, a big stabby craft thing, is it?
Yeah. Like originally it actually was a tug. It was in 1940 it was built, and so it was originally a tug, and so now we can offer services to the national park authorities and do training and fishery patrols and deliver personnel and equipment to remote atolls, and it's also used quite a bit for scientific research and support base for island pest eradication. You know a bit about that?
Yep, I sure do. I didn't know they were doing that. That's interesting. Must talk to Pete about that.
Yeah, you must. And a bit of surveillance. The last time I was on the vessel, it was on the dry in Ensenada, Mexico, so I've never actually been in the water on it. And a little bit nervous. Any boat captain that I've mentioned the journey that we're doing has said, Punta Mala, and Mala means bad in Spanish, so it's bad point. I thought, well, what's bad point? It's Punta Mala. It's 4 hours of hell, mixed tides, winds, high
so you're going to get tossed around like a cork.
If any of your listeners have any good don't get seasick.
Oh, well, there is
remedies,
a thing, and it's funny because
Mum's
in the studio with us, actually in the studio, she's here, when she used to get seasick, they used to have these things called the Pahia bombs, and my understanding is they were, and I've had them too, they were extremely good for seasickness, but they also had quite a bit of methamphetamine or some amphetamines in them. And so they were a little bit illegal, and you had to know where to go to get them. But they were literally the bomb. They were amazing. But you can't get them anymore. But it was a carefully constructed a pill by some sort of pharmaceutical expert, and they certainly did the biz. But I'm a great believer in the scopoderm patches. Only trouble is you got to watch. You can't have them on for too long, or you start to see grey unicorns riding elephants in the surf. So they are an extract, I think, of a belladonna. But they're good. I find them really good, but they dry you up. So you end up with this terrible, terrible dry mouth. Really interested if anyone out there's got other seasick remedies. Ginger's good. Chewing gum's good. Pressing your wrist at your pulse point right in the middle of your wrist. And singing. Yes. Believe it or not, singing.
I wonder if any of your listeners have actually gone around Punta Mala.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to hear if someone has.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, look, it's been great talking to you, Larisa. And look, just keep us informed. You never know. I might be back in the next couple of weeks anyway, and we can catch up with you after your Punta, not Bellissimo, trip. And so thanks very much, and look forward to catching up with you when you're back in New Zealand.